studios in downtown Little Rock. This is Capitol View with your host, David Goins.
And good Sunday morning to you. Welcome into Capitol View, a very busy show. This morning we start with Congressman Tom Cotton joining us from Washington, D.C. Senator-elect soon to be in January. Thank you so much for joining us this morning on Capitol View, sir.
Good morning, David. It's great to be on with you as always.
Absolutely. Okay, so as we look at the way the week in D.C. wrapped up, the spending bill got a lot of attention during this lame duck session. What was kind of your takeaway? Because it seemed like coming down the stretch, at least late on Thursday, a lot of the poll against this was actually coming from some of the more liberal members of the Democrat Party.
Well, the Democratic Party was deeply divided. You had Barack Obama and Joe Biden and Harry Reid pushing for the legislation and Nancy Pelosi pushing against it. I opposed the legislation in the end because I just don't think we should be passing 1,700-page bills that spend $1 trillion with only 48 hours to review them in a lame duck when we have dozens of congressmen and senators who lost their races or are retiring and are no longer accountable to the voters. I think the more responsible step would have been to pass a short-term spending bill that would have funded all government operations until January or February when we have a new Congress that's full of accountable members who will have to answer to the voters for their actions.
What particularly about this omnibus bill, this bill that is, the part of the government that's funded through September 30th of next year, did you have exception to that you'd like to see shorter? Because we know obviously Homeland Security has a much much shorter funding window.
Well, I simply don't think that we should be passing 1,700-page bills with less than 48 hours to review them, particularly when they're spending $1 trillion of taxpayer money. If we would have waited until the new year, I believe we would have gotten a much better piece of legislation with Mitch McConnell and a new Republican majority in the Senate. To give you just one example, we still need to increase our defense spending. With a new Republican majority, we could have taken more money from the domestic spending side, which has increased dramatically under Barack Obama, and spent more on the Department of Defense. We also could have gotten more additional policies enacted. When the House of Representatives earlier this year passed legislation to fund our military, they included an amendment that I offered that would have stopped the president's transfer of terrorists from Guantanamo Bay to other countries as a result of his swap of those terrorists for Private Bo Bergdahl. Just this past week, he sent 5 more terrorists to Uruguay and South America. It didn't make it into the final bill. That's the kind of measures that we probably could have gotten into a long-term spending measure in January and February. And then finally, just from a good government standpoint, I don't think that lame duck politicians should be making big and consequential policy decisions. That's just not the best way to handle from a democratic accountability standpoint.
Well, in a lame duck session, you obviously have a lot of congressmen and senators who will be there in the new year. You know, Senator Bozen joined us last week and said he supported this idea of having the continuing resolution through at least September because it gives a sense of, a little more kind of certainty on what's going on with government. What's kind of wrong with that perspective?
Well, I think the most important thing is that we're not spending taxpayer dollars in a way that's irresponsible. And frankly, after 48 hours, very few people in the Congress would have had time to review the legislation and understand the legislation. It was 1,700 pages. Republicans, when they took power in the House 4 years ago, promised that we wouldn't pass that kind of bill. I don't think we should have passed it. The more responsible step would have been to simply pass a short-term spending measure and let new and accountable senators and congressmen make decisions for the people in January or February. In addition, of course, to trying to stand up to the president's unlawful amnesty decree that's going to give work permits to 5 million illegal immigrants, something that we didn't address at all in this legislation, which I would have at least liked us to see, or like to have seen us take a chance so we could put more people on the record of where they stand on that decree.
Well, in the amount of time you had to look at it, putting that aside for a second, a lot of that spending maybe is not as controversial as the Homeland Security Department, which you just kind of referenced to with the president's immigration action. Kind of step us into January, because it sounds like that's really where the rubber's going to meet the road in both houses, dealing with the immigration decision from the president and how to fund that portion of the government beyond the end of February, correct?
Well, David, I want to get started very quickly in January and February on the promises that we made to the American people and I made to the people of Arkansas to help get America working again and keep America safe. There's lots of legislation over the last year that we've passed in the House of Representatives that would be great for Arkansas, great for our country. Look, for instance, at the legislation we've passed that would allow for the export of liquefied natural gas and the construction of facilities to export it. That would bring new jobs to North Arkansas and the Fayetteville Shale. Or look at some of the legislation that we passed over a year and a half ago that would put more sanctions on Iran, that would stop them from getting nuclear weapons. We need to look at legislation like that in January and February that's already proven to have bipartisan support and to have an immediate, quick impact for the people of Arkansas and our entire country.
Congressman, I want to ask you a couple more questions about immigration. Let's take a quick break right now. We'll be joined by Congressman Tom Cotton. When we come back, you're watching Capitol View on Sunday morning.
Your life doesn't have to stop when the power goes out. You can protect your home from power loss even during ice and snowstorms with one call to Power Systems by Royal. Our standby power systems turn on automatically and run on the natural gas line in your home, so you don't have to worry about dragging it out, filling it up, and running an extension cord throughout your home. Get power to your entire house within seconds. Keep important things like your refrigerator, lights, water, and heating unit running no matter what happens.
Call now for your standby power system during our end-of-the-year savings sale and receive a free one-year maintenance agreement. Don't be stuck without power this winter. Call Power Systems by Royal Windows and More.
You've been part of the family for as long as I can remember, and you just mean so much to all of us. The holidays wouldn't be the same without your crescent rolls. We got you a little something.
We got you jeans.
It's about time.
Piping hot Pillsbury crescent rolls make your holidays pop.
Holiday cookies are a big job. Everything has to be just right. Perfection is in the details. Pillsbury cookie dough make the holidays pop.
Perhaps the greatest TV special ever offered. You get 5 great gifts for all occasions.
One day at a time, sweet Jesus, I could climb
Her breathtaking voice has captured hearts around the world.
You are the wind beneath my wings.
Every song you've always wanted. They have never sounded so beautiful. Call now for this new special by Christy Lane. You get over 70 classics on 3 CDs, plus Christy's #1 million selling biography for only $19.99. Plus shipping, you save over 50%. Less than $5 each. Call now, and as a special bonus, you get the collector's item, Christy's first live concert and show on DVD, absolutely free. You pay shipping only.
Call 800-748-7404.
5 beautiful gifts that keep on giving for someone you love.
Following NBC Nightly News, join veteran news anchor Bob Clausen and Arkansas's own Ashley Katz for KARK4 News at 6. The team you can count on for local news that matters. Only on KARK4.
You're watching Capitol View, Sunday morning talk focused on the political scene in Arkansas.
And welcome back to Capitol View. We rejoin Congressman Tom Cotton this morning, talking about some of the things we think we'll be seeing in the next Senate and the next Congress when it starts in January. We were touching on immigration real quick. Give me a sense of, since Homeland Security is essentially funded for a couple months, how do you see it essentially playing out beyond that?
Well, obviously, the Congress will have to return to the Homeland Security funding bill sometime in January and February, and we all expect that at that point we'll include language in any funding bill that would stop the president from taking action to implement his unlawful executive amnesty order. And remember, this is not just his promise that he won't deport 5 million illegal immigrants. Frankly, we all knew that he wasn't deporting many illegal immigrants to begin with, but he's actually spending taxpayer money on things like photo IDs and work permits and Social Security numbers. He's making it easier for illegal immigrants to get jobs when we need to make it easier for Arkansans and all Americans to get jobs at better wages. And he's using taxpayer dollars to do that. That's an unwise policy when so many people are out of work. It's also unconstitutional. And we have to stand up and defend the separation of powers, which has kept our country free and helped promote good government for over 200 years.
Now that you're out of the House or transitioning out of the House to the Senate, do you see the House passing not comprehensive immigration reform? It looks like that doesn't seem to be a possibility, but something very narrowly tailored, that you could have this idea that we talked about last year where, you know, what was passed in the Senate and maybe something is passed in the House could be conferenced and put together, and then something narrow goes to the president's desk. Do you see that as a path forward, or do you see any legislation at all on the immigration front?
I do hope that we pass immigration reform legislation, but it has to be addressed to the problems that we have in our immigration system, which is a porous southern border and a lack of enforcement of our current laws. I'm hopeful that we'll pass in short order a bill that would help construct a fence on our southern border and also help promote more enforcement inside the country, since a third of all illegal immigrants come here and overstay visas, and a lot of them get work with false documents. I also want to focus on the legal immigration system, so we can have more people coming to America who are playing by the rules and doing the right thing. People like the interpreters I knew in Afghanistan who are playing by the rules, who have literally bled for America, yet can't get here because our immigration agencies are too focused on illegal immigration and making it easier for people who are jumping the line to get work permits or Social Security numbers. We should be encouraging immigration from the people that are showing the character to play by our rules and wait in line and do the right thing.
All right, let's transition a little bit to the release from the Senate Intelligence Committee earlier in the week dealing with some of the tactics used by the CIA and post 9/11. I know you came out and said, you know, the report was, in your words, full of lies. Talk to me about your thoughts on that.
Well, this is a one-sided partisan hatchet job against the intelligence community and the heroes that helped keep us safe after the 9/11 attacks. This is not a Senate report. This is not a Senate intelligence report. This is a report by Dianne Feinstein, who is confused and contradicting herself about her own report and her anti-war liberal staff. Everyone knows that the CIA's interrogation techniques help lead to terrorists like Khalid Sheikh Mohammed or Hambali and stop plots against the United States and our interest. They also help lead to Osama bin Laden. But it's not just a matter of the report being flawed. It's also a matter of the CIA.
You've had, I'm sorry to kind of jump in there, but you had the Senate Intelligence Committee, but you also had, you know, a private sector report that essentially said, you know, the information used to you know, track down bin Laden, let's say, for that example, for that raid, you know, could have been obtained without these tactics. Your thoughts there?
Wishful thinking by anti-war liberals. It's an intellectually honest position to say a technique like waterboarding.
Report?
It's an intellectually honest position to say that waterboarding should never be used, even if it saves American lives. But multiple directors and deputy directors of the CIA, to include frontline officers in addition, have also said that these techniques were critical in stopping attacks and leading to Osama bin Laden. And the Senate Intelligence Committee Democrats never even interviewed those people because they didn't want to hear contradictory evidence. Again, it's intellectually honest to say the country should never use these enhanced interrogation techniques, even if it saves American lives. But it's simply wishful thinking to say that they weren't effective and they didn't lead to actionable intelligence that saved American lives.
But we will point out that there were, you know, essentially two reports, the Senate Intelligence Committee and another one done through, you know, kind of in the private sector, which Governor-elect Asa Hutchinson was a part of, that essentially made the same conclusions. So would you also disagree with that report?
Well, a private sector report is never going to have the kind of access that people inside the government with top secret clearances have. I will trust the bipartisan group of CIA directors and deputy directors, Democrats like Leon Panetta and George Tenet, Republicans like Porter Goss or Michael Hayden, who all said that the program was effective, it was lawful, it was fully briefed to Congress, President Bush, Vice President Cheney, and it did lead to actionable intelligence.
Now that it's been ended, the enhanced interrogation tactics, would you support it ever coming back?
Well, the reason we don't have a detention and interrogation program right now is because Barack Obama simply kills terrorists with drones, which sometimes is the appropriate tactic based on terrain or defenses, but it's always better to capture a terrorist so you can interrogate him. And we shouldn't relish it. We shouldn't celebrate having to use these harsh interrogation tactics, but they're not torture. And if they save an American life, then an American president should use them to protect America and keep our citizens safe.
All right, Congressman, while we got the last 30 seconds here, so leading into the Christmas break, I assume you're probably ready to come home and spend a little time with family and to get sworn in. Are you looking forward to January?
Yeah, now that we've got the House work wrapped up, looking forward to making the transition to the Senate. But in the meantime, looking forward to spending a little bit of time back home in Dardanelle and enjoy time with family and friends. All right, Congressman Tom Cotton, thank you so much for joining us. Have a good weekend. Thank you. Merry Christmas to all your viewers. Absolutely. All right, well, when we come back, we'll have a whole lot more, especially looking at the week in Arkansas politics. It's been a busy one. You're watching Capitol View. I'm David Goins.
Looks like it's concept.
Your life doesn't have to stop when the power goes out. You can protect your home from power loss even during ice and snowstorms with one call to Power Systems by Royal. Our standby power systems turn on automatically and run on the natural gas line in your home, so you don't have to worry about dragging it out, filling it up, and running an extension cord throughout your home. Get power to your entire house within seconds. Keep important things like your refrigerator, lights, water, and heating unit running no matter what happens.
Call now for your standby power system during our end-of-the-year savings sale and receive a free one-year maintenance agreement. Don't be stuck without power this winter. Call Power Systems by Royal Windows and More.
I think this might be the one.
I call dibs.
Dibs? You can't call dibs.
Oh, actually, we do honor dibs at Toyotathon. But with all these great deals on so many vehicles, you know,
Dibs.
really... Okay.
Dibs. I got it.
Dibs.
My dibs. Dibs.
And here we go again.
Toyotathon is on. Right now, get $2,000 customer cash or drive a new 2014.5 Camry LE for just $199 a month. Offer ends January 5th.
It's the best dibs I ever dibs.
Toyota, let's go places.
Attention, Medicare beneficiaries in Arkansas. Please listen closely, especially if you have Medicare and Medicaid. You may be eligible for a Medicare Advantage plan from WellCare Health Plans for no monthly premium. Call 1-866-547-4338 right now to see if you qualify. WellCare provides access to local and regional network doctors and hospitals and benefits like dental, vision, and hearing. Over-the-counter drugs, a 24/7 nurse hotline, plus prescription coverage. Call now, 1-866-547-4338. Representatives will provide you detailed information and help see if you qualify. There are no costs or obligations to determine eligibility. WellCare is contracted with Medicare to provide plans that may be perfect for you. It's time to feel better about your Medicare. Call 1-866-547-4338 today.
In Judge Judy's court,
you only have one chance to make a first impression.
One side of the story is never enough.
What are you, nuts?
One big mouth gets you in big trouble.
Trust me, you are done.
And one dumb question brings an answer that smarts.
You left out a word. Stupid.
No wonder you've made her America's favorite judge.
I'm not just a pretty face.
There's only one Judge Judy.
This is my playpen.
Weekdays at 3 and 4 on KARK. You're watching Capitol View, Sunday morning talk focused on the political scene in Arkansas.
And welcome back to Capitol View. Our interview with Congressman Tom Cotton is a good pivot to look at this week in Arkansas politics. Late on Thursday night, the U.S. House passed a bill to fund the U.S. government and avoid another shutdown. The $1.1 trillion funding bill will keep the lights on through next September for most federal agencies. It did pass despite objections really from both sides, from many Democrats that were angry about the rollbacks on regulation to risky Wall Street trading, and from some conservative Republicans, including Congressman Cotton, who hope to push back on President Obama's executive order on immigration. Mark Pryor spending his final few days as Arkansas's senior senator. On Monday, Mr. Pryor took to the Senate floor to deliver his farewell speech. He employed those he leaves behind in the Senate, both Republicans and Democrats, a familiar refrain to work together.
The biggest and most serious problem facing our nation today is the dysfunction in our political system in Washington. America has incredible potential, but we cannot reach it unless Washington starts to work again for all of us.
And if you were watching earlier or have been awake any time during this year, you know that Congressman Tom Cotton will replace Pryor representing Arkansas in the U.S. Senate. Now, a little more than a month before lawmakers start the next legislative session at the Capitol, but it is busy nonetheless. On Tuesday, the House of Representatives continuing their week-long orientation for new members and selecting leadership spots for 3 key committees. House Speaker-designate Jeremy Gillum of Judsonia says, with the selections now complete, all eyes looking forward to the start of the session.
I think the Budget Committee, especially Representatives Jean and House, will be working with Senate counterparts as well as those in the governor's office working to put together a budget that we'll be able to vote on and be prepared for the 90th General Assembly.
And Gillum referring to Lane, Jean, and Doug House, chairman and vice chairman of the Budget Committee. Now, the session does get underway second week of January with Governor-elect Asa Hutchinson's inauguration coming up the following day. Well, money owed to county jails for housing around 2,500 state inmates, that continues to add up. According to the Association of Arkansas Counties, that total reached $7.7 million in the first week of December. And the association saying the Department of Correction hopes to issue nearly $900,000 in payments this month. Still, counties anticipate that debt to climb up to $9 million once 2015 starts. Same-sex couples in Arkansas deliver more than 1,000 signatures to the Attorney General's office on Wednesday. The petitioners want Dustin McDaniel to drop an appeal or just not appeal altogether a federal court ruling striking down Arkansas's ban on gay marriage.
We have had 2 strong rulings, one from the state and one from the federal courts in our favor, those of us who are gay, lesbian, and we feel like it's time. We feel like that with and not only Arkansas, all over the United States, there's been strong cases against the ban on gay marriage.
The AG's office has 30 days after the federal court ruling, which came in late November, to decide whether or not to appeal to the 8th Circuit in St. Louis. A spokesman for McDaniel's office said the AG will wait until after the Arkansas Supreme Court rules on deciding whether to appeal. That expected ruling should happen in the next week or so. Governor-elect Asa Hutchinson hearing firsthand what it'll take to add more computer science courses in Arkansas classrooms. When he takes office next month, he'll have a number of challenges, from prisons to healthcare and improving K-12 education. But it's on education, specifically science and math, where he has the backing of educators and industry leaders alike. There's no doubt just about all kids know computers, but much fewer know what it takes to make computers, tablets, and smartphones go. Governor-elect Asa Hutchinson hopes the people in this room can help change that.
These are key partners that will show young people that there's a career path here, that if you get your education, if you learn these skills, there's job opportunities for you.
If this sounds familiar,
it is a high-paying skill, and it's the future for many Arkansas boys and girls. Right, Ella Beth?
Right, Papa.
You know, this is being able to put what you talk about in a campaign that you see is important for Arkansas into reality, and the STEM Coalition is a key part of that effort.
STEM, which stands for Science, Technology, Engineering, and Math, focuses curriculum around those core subjects to produce graduates ready for work.
The biggest hurdles we face are getting parents to acknowledge that STEM education fields can lead to a better quality of life for their student.
Hutchinson wants to add computer coding as a credited high school course, but he learned this afternoon from the STEM Coalition the state likely only has about a half dozen qualified teachers.
It actually was surprising. That shows that we've got a lot of work to do ahead, but it's achievable.
The STEM Coalition added a lot of the background work to create certification for more qualified computer science teachers is actually already well underway. Now they're hoping to team up with Arkansas's new governor-elect to get more computer coders into classrooms perhaps in the next year. And speaking of that new governor-elect. Plans leading up to Asa Hutchinson's inauguration have been finalized. The inauguration event being called, quote, a new day in Arkansas. That new day is going to be Monday, January 12th. There's a red, white, and barbecue inaugural party. It'll take place at the Museum of Discovery from 7 to 9 p.m. Again, the Museum of Discovery, part of that STEM coalition, so certainly not lost on the connection there. Mr. Hutchinson will also be sworn in on the steps of the state capitol on the 13th of January. That's Tuesday at noon. Public can hear his inaugural address then. The inaugural ball will be held at the State House Convention Center the evening of January 13th. When we come back, before Congress wrapped up their lame duck session, an effort to honor a soldier in uniform killed in Little Rock more than 5 years ago is now one step closer. I'm David Goins. You're watching Capitol View on Sunday morning.
Looks like it's cops.
Your life doesn't have to stop when the power goes out. You can protect your home from power loss even during ice and snowstorms with one call to Power Systems by Royal. Our standby power systems turn on automatically and run on the natural gas line in your home, so you don't have to worry about dragging it out, filling it up, and running an extension cord throughout your home. Get power to your entire house within seconds. Keep important things like your refrigerator, lights, water, and heating unit running no matter what happens.
Call now for your standby power system during our end-of-the-year savings sale and receive a free one-year maintenance agreement. Don't be stuck without power this winter. Call Power Systems by Royal Windows and More.
You're watching Capitol View, Sunday morning talk focused on the political scene in Arkansas.
And welcome back to Capitol View. Before we go, if you've lived in central Arkansas for any length of time, many of us will recall the shooting outside the Army Recruiting Center in Little Rock. Army Private William Long lost his life and Private Quentin Ezigula was injured on that day back in June 2009. The shooter, a self-described Islamic extremist born and raised in Memphis, Tennessee, but converted to Islam, and told police at the time that political animus towards U.S. foreign policy motivated his attack. He's in prison for life, but Long's family has since worked to have the Army recognize their son with a Purple Heart. More than 3 years of effort, maybe one step closer with Congress approving the Defense Authorization Act late on Friday.
What this does is set up a process so that there's steps that we can follow now, and if it all falls within that process, then they'll get their Purple Hearts. And we worked hard to make sure that they would fall into it. Not only will it help them, but also the victims in Fort Hood shooting in Texas.
Bozeman added the next step is for the Army to take the new Purple Heart criteria and retroactively be able to award them to Long and Ezigula, adding Arkansas's congressional delegation will urge for that to happen next year. Well, that is it for today's show. Don't forget, you can stay up to date with Arkansas politics by following us on Twitter at Capitol View AR and download the Capitol View smartphone app. It is just waiting for you right now in the iTunes App Store and Google Play. We will have a great show for you next week, and get ready because the year-end show is coming as well. Enjoy the rest of your weekend.
Looking for one of these? YoPlay. Smooth, creamy, and craved by the whole family.
Hi, I'm Missy Gibson. At John Gibson Auto Sales, it is our goal to meet all of our customers' needs. That is why we offer over 800 cars, trucks, SUVs, motorcycles, ATVs, boats, trailers, and RVs. We will finance your purchase regardless of your past credit history. Go online at johngibsonautosales.com and see our full inventory selection, which is updated daily. Come to 1425 Airport Road in Hot Springs, and we will have your purchase ready when you get here. See you soon online or in person.
Attention, Medicare beneficiaries in Arkansas. Please listen closely, especially if you have Medicare and Medicaid. You may be eligible for a Medicare Advantage plan from WellCare Health Plans for no monthly premium. Call 1-866-547-4338 right now to see if you qualify. WellCare provides access to local and regional network doctors and hospitals and benefits like dental, vision, and hearing. Over-the-counter drugs, a 24/7 nurse hotline, plus prescription coverage. Call now, 1-866-547-4338. Representatives will provide you detailed information and help see if you qualify. There are no costs or obligations to determine eligibility. WellCare is contracted with Medicare to provide plans that may be perfect for you. It's time to feel better about your Medicare. Call 1